Hey, welcome. Today, we are going to do a deep dive into just a single verse from the book of James. But trust me, this one sentence is an absolute powerhouse. It tells us something really profound about the surprising weight of the words we use every single day. I mean, seriously, who hasn't been there? That split second after the words leave your mouth and you just wish you could literally pull them back out of the air. That sinking feeling, right? The mad dash to do damage control. It's something we all know, and it's that exact feeling that this verse we're about to look at totally plugs into. So here it is, James chapter 3, verse 2. Now, at first glance, it seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? But when we really start to unpack the language and the ideas packed in here, it becomes this amazing blueprint for understanding what self-control and spiritual maturity are all about. Okay, so the verse kicks off with this idea of stumbling. The original Greek word here is ptaio, and getting the nuance is absolutely key. See, this isn't about just tripping up once in a while. The grammar actually suggests it's a constant thing, a shared human condition. James is basically saying, look, we all get this wrong, all the time. He's leveling the playing field before he even gets to his main point. So, if we all stumble, how in the world do we measure growth? Well, James gives us a surprisingly specific test. And it's not what you'd expect. It's not about our big, heroic moments or how much theology we know. He says the single most accurate measure of our spiritual health is our speech. It all comes down to the words we use. Now let's talk about that word perfect, because that can be a really intimidating word, can't it? The Greek here is teleos, and it doesn't mean sinless or flawless like we might think. It means complete, mature, whole. So the goal isn't some impossible standard of never ever making a mistake. It's about becoming a whole, integrated person whose actions and words are finally in sync. And this, right here, is the crucial point. James is making a really radical claim. He's saying that if you can master this one small, incredibly difficult part of yourself, your tongue, then you actually have the key to steering your entire life, your whole body, all your impulses, all your actions, everything. That sounds like a bit of an exaggeration, right? How can this one little muscle possibly control our entire destiny? Well, it's like James knew we'd ask that, because he gives us three really powerful analogies to show us exactly how it works. So James is basically illustrating what we could call the leverage principle. And just think about it for a second. A tiny little piece of metal, the bit, can turn a 1,000-pound horse. A small rudder can steer a massive ship, even against powerful winds. In both of these cases, a tiny part has this massive, outsized influence over the whole thing. And that is the principle he's applying to the tongue. This is why James says the tongue boasts greatly. It's not just bragging out of arrogance. In a way, it has a right to. Its power to direct the course of a life is just objectively huge compared to its physical size. It's the bit, it's the rudder of our entire being. But then, the analogy takes a much darker turn. We go from control to contagion. James's third analogy is fire. And believe me, he is not talking about a cozy little campfire here. He calls the tongue a world of unrighteousness, like it's its own self-contained system of destruction. This totally shifts the focus from the tongue's power to its terrifying, destructive potential. And the destructive power of this fire is just immense. I mean, a single spark can burn down an entire forest. In the same way, a single word, some gossip, a lie, a cruel comment, can absolutely destroy a reputation, a friendship, a whole community. James says it stains our entire character and can set the whole course of our life on fire. So this brings us to the critical question, right? If our words carry this destructive, fiery potential, where's the source? Where does this spark come from? Is it just, our own flawed nature? Well, James gives a very specific and chilling answer. He says the tongue is set on fire by Gehenna. Now, for his original audience, this was a powerful, potent image. Gehenna was a real place, a valley outside Jerusalem. It was basically a garbage dump that burned constantly, and it had a dark history with pagan child sacrifice. It was their physical picture of hell. So James is saying the source of destructive speech isn't just human error. It's something much, much darker. This sets up the central conflict of the whole passage, a choice between two very different kinds of fire. On one side, you've got the fire from Gehenna. It comes from the abyss, and all it does is destroy and consume.
But the Bible presents another kind of fire, the fire of Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit came down as tongues of fire. That fire comes from God, and its purpose is to purify and refine.
And here's the solution. You can't fight fire with just willpower. The point James is making isn't simply try harder not to say bad things. The solution he's pointing to is a complete change of the energy source. It's about disconnecting from the wiring of Gehenna and plugging into a new divine power source.
This is a classic biblical dynamic. You have the Old Covenant, which gave external rules for the tongue, like don't lie. But the New Covenant promises an internal transformation, a new heart. And the fire of Pentecost is what offers the power to actually live this out, changing our speech from the inside out because it's coming from a totally different divine source.
Okay, so that's the big picture theology, but what does this look like on a Tuesday afternoon when you're tempted to gossip or just complain about something? Well, this new power source actually gives us a framework, a practical filter that we can actively use before we even open our mouths. And this leads to a super practical takeaway. Before the words leave your mouth, just run them through this quick 3-part filter. Number 1, is it true? Does it actually line up with reality? Number 2, is it kind? Does it reflect the kind of mercy that we've been shown? And number 3, is it necessary? Is this actually going to build someone up, or is it just adding noise to the world? And that leaves us with this final, powerful question to think about. If James is right, if your tongue really is the rudder that steers your entire life through all of life's crazy winds, then the most important question you can possibly ask yourself is this: who or what is holding that rudder?